How do you really know if your listing is polished, professional, and ready to convert lookers into bookers? Stay tuned. We're going to give you so many actionable tips that you can apply today.
Hi, I'm Sarah Karakayan.
And I'm Annette Grant.
And together we are
Thanks for visiting. We've been hosting for well over a decade, welcomed tens of thousands of guests, and earned thousands of 5-star reviews.
Our portfolio continues to bring in over 1.5 million year over year, and supported not only by the industry's leading brands, but also some of the biggest media outlets.
And we're here to help you with your furnished rental.
Tip number 1, your hero image. Your hero image is exactly what it is. It is the hero of your property. It is the one that is going to draw your guests in. This is the first one they see. This is the one that needs to tell the full story of your property, but also be that moment, that hook that gets them to dig in further into your property. Question for you. Do you know right now, without a doubt, what that hero image is? If you don't, then you've got homework to do. You cannot set it and forget it. You need to make sure that this is the image, especially seasonality, that's going to pull people in. But I challenge you, go to your listing right now, give your phone to someone else and see if that photo is the one that actually says wow about your property.
And Annette mentioned seasonality, and what she means by that is that you don't have to just pick this hero image and that's the hero image forever. You might want the hero image to change depending on events happening in your town, the different seasons in your area. For example, maybe you want to highlight the fire pit or the hot tub as we go into the colder seasons, and if you have a warmer season, maybe you do have a pool or picnic table that you could highlight, or maybe you have photos of your property in the summer and in the fall, maybe with snow on the roof where it's really pretty and freshly fallen snow, and so you have that romantic vibe going on. Remember, people are booking your property off of these images, and especially that first image that drags them in from looking at another property. It's going to make all the difference in the world.
Now that you have your hero image chosen, it is the one, you want to then create a photo tour. You don't want to have the first photos right after that be the same as that hero image. You want to take them on a quick yet comprehensive tour of the home. And again, those following photos right after the hero image really should be super impressive. And then you kind of want to walk them through all of the spaces in your home. You also want to take the time to put captions in each photo. Again, you're on that photo tour, you want to explain to the guest where they are. You can also add some, I don't want to say exactly personality, but if you know some features in that room that maybe guests have said were part of their 5-star stay, you can add in that copywriting in that photo caption. While you're focusing on all those images, please have a professional photographer take these images. I can't tell you how many listings we see and people are pulling out their hair, trying to figure out why they're not getting booked, why their listing isn't performing the way they want. And it's blinding to me. I see it they are not professional photos. They were taken with an iPhone, or they were taken by a professional that didn't have a shot list, exactly what the host was looking for, and that photographer really understanding the photos are what are selling the home, and these are not real estate photos. I know a lot of times that will be our first inclination, is to hire a real estate photographer, but those pictures are shot in a totally different way than short-term rental photography. So we actually have an Airbnb shot list for you in our show notes. Make sure that you download that, you give that to that professional photographer, make sure that they have some history shooting short-term rentals.
Tip number 2, maximizing your listing title. Okay, so your title is pretty important because this is the font is bigger, it's more bold, and the mistakes that we see hosts make are reiterating things that are already a part of the listing, like the fact that it's 2-bedroom or where it's located. For example, 2-bedroom Columbus property with patio, right? I've wasted an opportunity to communicate with my potential booker by stating something that they probably already know, because most people limit their search to where they want to go. Some don't, and I'm jealous of those people who are just where do I want to go in the world? But most times they do. And saying how many beds or baths it is, especially when you abbreviate 2BA and then 3BED, you're wasting space. Also, when you're on, most people book on their phone. And so when you come to the title, you want to put the most valuable real estate part of your title. And what I mean by that are the words that will carry the most weight for that potential booker are towards the front. Because if the title gets cut off, you don't want that to lose that potential guest. And use words in your title that will attract them to click more. And sometimes we don't have the words for our property. So if you are lucky enough to have been hosting for a little while now, you can go through your reviews and see how guests point out their favorite features in your property. It might actually surprise you. One of the hosts in our membership had mentioned that all of a sudden she saw a lot of her reviews call her bathrooms spa-like, Now, that might not be the most unique or creative way to describe a bathroom, but her guest kept using it. So she put it in the title. If you use the words of the kind of guest that books your property, you'll probably attract more of those guests, which is exactly the goal. So putting some thought into your title, not using filler words, not using words guests don't understand. I see a lot of hosts out there using words that are internal for your team.
Yeah.
Don't waste that. You're just going to confuse someone and they're going to be thinking about your property in the wrong way. Like, what am I trying
you
to
have
say?
a unit number or you have named your house something that only you would recognize, it's not helpful to the guest.
No, and actually in Airbnb it's nice because they give you an area to do that. You can put in that's only team facing, a unit number or an address that will help you differentiate. But otherwise, anything that's potential guest facing, you want to make it clear, make it intriguing, and keep it professional.
Number 3, crafting an effective description. I see 2 things happening here. Either people don't put any description at all, or they have complete novels of their description of their home, and it just, when people start to read it, they cannot decipher what's going on. We advise that you use bullet points here, and the first 5 lines are the most valuable real estate, okay? That's the first thing they're gonna see in that description, and again, bullet points. Get those first top 5 things that are most important that you wanna rely to that guest, because again, please understand, we know you love your property. We know that everybody should book your property, but people have limited attention spans, and you have to understand they are overwhelmed when they go on to the app. They are looking at a sea of listings, and it's an exciting time when you're booking your trip, but it's also stressful. So you want to make it as easy to read as possible. And then in those bullet points, in that description, you want to call some things out. We love adding our proximity to those local attractions that they might want to go to. This is the spot, if you are 10 steps from the beach, let that person know 10 steps from the beach. Or if you are 1 mile from your concert venue, let them know that. Or if you are 150 yards from the best coffee shop in the city, these are times you want to get granular, specific, and highlight in those bullet points.
Once you have the first portion done and a guest were to click show more, I think it's effective, and we've seen this. We use a software that can measure where you rank on the online travel agencies, and those that rank higher have something in common where it comes to that show more area, and it actually gives you, you do kitchen. So kitchen's in all caps, and then you have the bullet points. Then you have bedroom 1, all caps, and then bullet points. The more just, people want to know, what do you have in your kitchen? Are you fully equipped? Do you have something that maybe your neighboring competitors don't have that stands out? That is your opportunity to point that out, but not only using bullet points, but really separating the things out with spacing and all caps in certain areas. Don't put your whole thing in all caps. You don't want to yell at your guests. It's just a way to make the text look different, to make your eye be able to consume it differently and quicker.
And yeah, you want to let the person's eyes be able to breathe as they're reading it. So if you give some space, you give some clarity, use those bullet points, some of the caps, they know they're reading about the kitchen at that time. It helps them digest all of the amazing information you're giving about your property.
And if you're that host that uses that section, that property description section, to reiterate your house rules, I want to tell you it's not as effective as you think it is. Okay, so you're already scaring away guests that mean well and have every intention of treating your property with respect. There is a place for house rules. Put your house rules there, because honestly, when you tell your guests to refer to them, that's the easiest place to send them. So don't kind of come across as this, I don't even know what to call it, but just this bossy, rule giving out host. Put their things that they want to know about the property. You're still trying to sell them, okay? Give them the rules later, whether it's in that pre-booking message or the first email that they receive, in your rental agreement. Those are appropriate places, not in the listing description area that Annette was going over with you. Tip number 4, staging and setting your property up for photo success. We talked about the hero image. We talked about the first photos after the hero image, the first 4, so that you're giving a tour within those first 5 photos. But let's talk about the rest of the photos and how it's not going to cut it anymore for the photographer to get in every corner of the room and just take a shot. We really have to sell our properties to that potential guest before they book the property, and that takes skill, and you're not going to be good at it right away. You have to kind of practice it, and I advise you to be involved when that photographer is there. Don't go outside and wait for them to be done. Be a collaborative creative on that project and look through the lens of their camera. Make sure that you don't think there's too much ceiling or too much floor, and already have a list of areas of your home that you want to highlight that aren't just this is what the room looks like, right? For example, If you have a really big house, something that we hear over and over again is people want to know where the entire family or the entire group of friends is going to hang out. So showing them, hey, is there enough seating on your living room sofa? What about your dining area? Is there enough space for everyone? If you sleep 12, are there 12 places to sit at the dining room table to have dinner together? Maybe outside, maybe you're in Scottsdale or Phoenix, Arizona, like we were just there, and knowing that the outdoor area has all these really cool pockets that people can hang out in, it'd be the perfect spot for a bachelorette party or maybe a 40th birthday party. So think about who your ideal guest is and make sure that you're capturing those moments in the photos and getting a little bit more lifestyle. Maybe pick up a lifestyle magazine or some sort of home and garden magazine or architectural magazine and see how they're photographing their spaces. We can learn a lot from taking photos that are meant to convert someone to buy than just show off a space, because unlike with a Zillow listing, people might come to the property and see it in person. You can't do that with our short-term rentals. We have to get them to convert just by looking at the photos.
And I just this past week have talked to a couple of different hosts. One of them has now a minimum of 5 different photo shoots of a property because they do sunrise, sunset, they do dusk, they do them with guests in the actual property. And so I know you're probably thinking that's a lot, but again, she wants to show how to maximize this home, and she's in a very busy market. Just yesterday on LinkedIn, I saw a host. He had a photographer at his property for over 12 hours. Again, said it was worth every penny because that photographer was able to do sunrise, sunset. They were on the water so they could get the pictures inside the home during that time, outside of the home during that time, and really capturing how the guest is going to be able to use that space. One last tip on photos. If you have those amazing amenities or something that your guests keep calling out, add those to the photos. It can be further down, but if people keep mentioning how well equipped your kitchen is, open up the cabinets, let them see, wow, they really do have everything in this gourmet kitchen or chef's kitchen for me to cook or prepare a meal for my family, so they can see all your plates, all your cups. Again, you're gonna wanna put that towards the end, but it's just reassuring that guest that's wondering those things if you have those. Your washer dryer, if you're a longer term stay, if you have a desk and you're selling that, it's a great work from home area. Not only show that area, but you could show someone working, maybe someone faceless from behind, but you could show them working at that desk, enjoying your property. Tip number 5, listings aren't set it and forget it. This is a hard one for every host because again, you are so busy. We understand it. You are hosting your guests, you're answering all the messages, you're making sure your pricing is right, you're coordinating your cleaners and your maintenance. And I can share with you, the listings sometimes do get left behind. We put it up there. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at photos and Sarah and I are like, oh my gosh, we got a new light fixture, we got a new rug, we got new pillows, and we're like, we've got to change out those photos because remember, your guests, that is what they see, that's what they want to get when they open the door, and also, you need to change it. You need to test these hero images. You need to change with the seasons. You just need to update it too and see what's going on in your area. You can update your title sometimes if it's very specific to what's going on, maybe specific photos. I would encourage you to just put a reoccurring, if you're like us, have very busy schedules, put a calendar reminder at least quarterly, if you could do it monthly, to just go in and make sure that your listing is refreshed, up to date, maybe tweak something here or there, change one of your photo captions, add a photo, have another photo shoot, maybe test your listing, add some things to the description if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a lot of reviews, people mentioning this. Maybe add a photo about it or add it into your listing description. But just like anything, especially your pricing, your listing itself cannot be set it and forget it.
I can give you a couple tips here that I can often forget, and so I want to share with you so that you aren't like me in this case. But a lot of the OTAs will push out new features. So let's say you're connected to a property management software. Even if you're connected to a property management software, and this is time consuming, but it's worth it, to actually go into the OTA, namely Airbnb, and see what new features they've added that you can be a part of, whether it's new amenities that you can either check off or amenity descriptions. So not the fact that you just have a TV, but you have a 70, I don't even know that they come in 70, 72 inch, I don't even know, but a 72 inch smart TV or frame TV, or not that you have coffee, but you offer coffee via Keurig and French press, right? So those are the ones that already exist and have existed for a while, but they are rolling out new amenities and tweaking their amenities all the time. And it is something that you want to show up for, because if guests click on these filters as they're searching and you offer it, but you don't have it selected, as part of your listing, you're not going to populate. So you can also do a search. Now, there's software for this, but you can do this manually. Going to your competitors, seeing what amenities they offer. Is there anything that's popular that they're not offering that you can offer? Again, like this is just about tweaking your listing and seeing how you can show up more to be considered more by that potential booker.
One thing that we want you to work on too is your Airbnb profile. We have a whole video on that, so go make sure you check it out. And then also your reviews. These are not set it, forget it. We're going to show you the power of responding to each and every review. Make sure to check out that video also.
With that, I am Sarah Karakayan.
I'm Annette Grant, and together we are
Thanks for visiting.